7. Signs of a stupid man. We've all met someone who seems to be their own worst enemy. Someone who repeatedly makes bad decisions, fails to learn from mistakes, or simply can't seem to get it together. And we've all likely wondered, how can a person be so blind to their own behavior? It's easy to dismiss this as a lack of intelligence, but it's not just about IQ. It's about mindset, attitude, and the choices a person makes in how they live their life. These are the traits of someone who is stuck in a cycle of ignorance, and let's be honest, many of us have encountered men who seem to lack the common sense to thrive in their personal, professional, or even romantic lives. But what if I told you there are 7 clear signs that reveal someone is a stupid man? These signs go beyond mere lack of knowledge. They're deeply rooted in patterns of behavior, habits, and an unwillingness to face reality. And more importantly, these signs are not permanent. They are patterns that can be changed if the person is willing to open their eyes, take responsibility, and evolve. What we're really talking about is not some inherent flaw, but a series of choices that lead to a stagnant life. The reality is that many of these stupid behaviors can be unlearned, and no one is immune. We all make mistakes, and we all have areas where we fall short. But when these behaviors become chronic, they prevent growth and can be deeply damaging to relationships, careers, and self-esteem. That's why, in this video, we'll break down 7 unmistakable signs of a stupid man. Signs that prevent him from reaching his full potential and create obstacles that are entirely self-imposed. But more importantly, we'll look at how to recognize and avoid these behaviors in ourselves, because wisdom, growth, and personal transformation begin with self-awareness. Let me be clear, this isn't just about calling someone out or labeling them as stupid. It's about identifying the actions, attitudes, and habits that hold us back from being the best version of ourselves. It's a tough love approach, facing the harsh truth that sometimes our own actions are the greatest obstacles to our success. This video is not about pointing fingers, it's about offering solutions. And this message is for everyone. Whether you're trying to improve your relationships, your career, or your overall life satisfaction, these signs are valuable tools in helping you avoid the pitfalls that hold so many people back. As a motivational speaker, my goal is always to inspire you to reach for greatness and live with intention. And it starts with self-awareness, the ability to recognize our flaws and the courage to confront them head-on. By understanding these 7 signs of a stupid man, we can begin the process of change. We can avoid making the same mistakes over and over, and we can start making smarter, more thoughtful decisions in every area of our lives. So if you're ready to take an honest look at the behaviors that may be holding you or someone you know back, let's dive in. This is not just about pointing out what's wrong, but understanding how to fix it. No one is born with all the answers, but the journey toward wisdom starts with the willingness to learn, grow, and adapt. And the first step toward growth is realizing that even the most foolish of behaviors can be overcome with intention, discipline, and a commitment to being better. Let's explore the 7 signs that could be holding you back, and how you can start changing them today. Part 1. A lack of accountability. Let's start with the first sign of a stupid man, a lack of accountability. Now, when I say accountability, I'm not just talking about admitting when you've messed up in small things. It's about taking responsibility for your life. It's about not deflecting blame and owning the decisions you make, whether they're right or wrong. A man who refuses to be accountable is the kind of person who constantly makes excuses, shifts the blame to others, and fails to see his own role in his failures. This is a classic sign of someone who will never grow. Why is this lack of accountability such a glaring red flag? Because accountability is the foundation for personal development. Without it, you're stuck in a constant cycle of denial, excuses, and finger-pointing. A man who never takes responsibility for his actions is essentially telling himself that he has no control over his life. This can manifest in all areas: relationships, career, finances, health, where decisions are made without taking ownership of the consequences. This is where foolishness begins. Think about it. When someone refuses to own up to their mistakes, they're essentially saying, "It's not my fault. I didn't cause this." What does this do? It keeps them stuck. It keeps them from learning from the mistakes they've made. They'll repeat the same errors because they never reflect on what went wrong. And in doing so, they'll never grow or evolve into a better version of themselves. This is a dangerous pattern because it not only affects them, but it also impacts the people around them. In relationships especially, accountability is crucial. When one person constantly refuses to take responsibility for their actions or words, it creates tension, resentment, and distance. How can you build trust and respect when one party is always shifting the blame? You can't. And over time, it erodes the very foundation of a healthy relationship. The good news is that accountability is something you can cultivate. It starts with acknowledging that your decisions, big and small, have consequences. It's about being honest with yourself, something that takes courage. The first step is accepting that you are responsible for your actions, regardless of the outcome. If something goes wrong, ask yourself, what could I have done differently? Rather than blaming external factors or others. By doing this, you not only improve your decision-making, but you also set the stage for growth, respect, and long-term success. Part 2. Stubbornness and refusal to adapt. The second sign of a stupid man is stubbornness and an inability to adapt. Now, stubbornness is often mistaken for strength or determination, but let's be clear, there's a big difference between staying true to your values and simply being inflexible. A man who refuses to adapt to changing circumstances or new ideas is like someone who's stuck in the past, unwilling to see the future unfolding right in front of him. Adaptability is crucial. The world is constantly changing. Technology is advancing, the economy shifts, and social dynamics evolve. The ability to adjust, grow, and embrace change is not just important, it's vital for survival and success. Yet many men get stuck in their old ways. They cling to outdated beliefs, behaviors, and strategies because they're comfortable, familiar, or, quite frankly, easy. This is where foolishness begins. Why is stubbornness such a huge obstacle? Because when you're rigid, you miss out on growth opportunities. You become so focused on your own perspective that you fail to see the value in others' viewpoints. And the more you resist change, the more you limit your potential. Men who refuse to adapt end up falling behind because they refuse to learn, improve, and take in new information. Think about it. Every time something new comes along, whether it's a technology change, a cultural shift, or a different way of thinking, a stubborn man will resist it. He'll say, "I've done it this way for years and it works fine," while the world moves on without him. He misses opportunities, makes poor decisions, and is often left frustrated and behind. This is a sign of immaturity and a lack of vision. Adaptability, on the other hand, allows you to remain relevant, resourceful, and connected to the world around you. Stubbornness can also show up in relationships. When someone is unwilling to listen, learn, or adapt to the needs of their partner, it creates conflict. Relationships require compromise, understanding, and change. No one has it all figured out, and being open to new ideas or ways of doing things is essential for growth, both as an individual and as a partner. The antidote to stubbornness is open-mindedness. It's about being willing to listen, question, and most importantly, learn. This doesn't mean abandoning your core values or becoming a pushover. It means recognizing that flexibility and adaptation are key to success. Whether it's trying a new approach at work, accepting a different viewpoint in a conversation, or simply adjusting your behavior to meet the needs of those around you, adaptability is an essential skill. To overcome stubbornness, practice self-awareness and mindfulness. Take a step back and ask yourself if you're truly being open to change, or if you're just resisting because of pride or fear. Being adaptable doesn't mean giving up who you are. It means growing, evolving, and embracing new experiences to become the best version of yourself. Part 3. Emotional reactivity and immaturity. The third sign of a stupid man is emotional reactivity and immaturity. Emotional immaturity is one of the most common yet overlooked traits that keep a person stuck in a cycle of foolishness. The inability to manage emotions in a healthy way leads to impulsive decisions, unhealthy relationships, and a lack of self-control. A man who reacts emotionally to every situation is often driven by his feelings instead of his intellect. This emotional impulsivity can make a person volatile, unpredictable, and difficult to trust. So why is emotional reactivity such a big issue? Because it prevents rational thinking. When someone is emotionally reactive, they are not making decisions based on logic or wisdom. They are reacting to the situation without considering the long-term consequences. For instance, if something goes wrong, they may lash out in anger or frustration instead of pausing to reflect, assess the situation, and respond thoughtfully. This immediate reaction tends to make situations worse, which reinforces a cycle of poor decision-making and regret. Signs of emotional reactivity include frequent outbursts, overreaction to criticism, taking things personally, and making decisions in the heat of the moment. Whether it's a workplace disagreement, a personal relationship issue, or just a stressful day, a man who is emotionally reactive will struggle to stay calm and think clearly. His inability to regulate his emotions leads to rash decisions, impulsive actions, and strained relationships. Now, let's think about this in terms of relationships. Emotional immaturity often shows up when a man cannot deal with conflict or stress without blowing up or shutting down. He may ignore his partner's feelings, respond harshly, or avoid the issue altogether. This leads to unresolved conflicts, hurt feelings, and a breakdown in trust. Relationships thrive on emotional intelligence, the ability to navigate tough conversations with respect, care, and calm. When emotional maturity is absent, relationships become toxic, and both partners are left frustrated. The impact of emotional reactivity is far-reaching. It damages relationships, causes unnecessary stress, and keeps a man from reaching his potential in both his personal and professional life. Emotionally reactive people tend to burn bridges, create chaos, and miss opportunities because they lack the self-control to process their emotions before acting. Over time, this takes a serious toll on their happiness and their ability to connect with others. So, how can we overcome emotional reactivity and build emotional maturity? The first step is awareness. Start paying attention to how you respond in emotional situations. Do you react immediately? Do you feel out of control when anger, frustration, or stress arises? The key is to create a pause between the stimulus and your reaction. Give yourself a moment to breathe, reflect, and choose your response. Over time, this practice helps you regain control over your emotions and make decisions that align with your long-term goals. Emotional maturity also involves learning how to express feelings in a healthy way. Instead of bottling up anger or crying out of frustration, learn to communicate your emotions calmly and assertively. Use "I feel" statements and express your emotions without blaming or attacking others. For example, instead of saying, "You always make me angry," try saying, "I feel frustrated when..." This shift in communication allows for better understanding, less defensiveness, and healthier interactions. By developing emotional intelligence and maturity, a man can navigate life's challenges with grace, build stronger relationships, and make decisions that are well thought out, not driven by impulse. Part 4. Refusal to learn from mistakes. The fourth sign of a stupid man is his refusal to learn from mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. It's a natural part of life. But the truly foolish man is the one who doesn't learn from them. He repeats the same errors over and over again, unable or unwilling to reflect on the lessons failure brings. The refusal to acknowledge mistakes and learn from them is a surefire way to keep yourself stuck in a pattern of failure and frustration. Why is this so detrimental? Because growth and progress come from learning. If a man doesn't take the time to evaluate his failures and understand what went wrong, he's doomed to repeat them. Mistakes are meant to be stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. But when we ignore the lessons that failures offer, we waste valuable opportunities to grow and improve. Signs that someone is refusing to learn from mistakes include making the same errors multiple times, ignoring feedback, and not taking responsibility for their actions. For example, if a man is consistently late to work but never takes steps to change his habits, he's not learning from his mistakes. Or, if a man continually has conflicts with others but refuses to reflect on his role in those conflicts, he is stuck in a cycle of misunderstanding and poor choices. This refusal to learn also extends to personal growth. People who don't learn from their past often fail to improve their behavior or mindset. They get stuck in their ways, believing that the world should adapt to them instead of adapting to the world. This rigidity leads to frustration, missed opportunities, and a lack of fulfillment. Without growth, life becomes a monotonous series of mistakes, and success becomes increasingly elusive. On the flip side, learning from mistakes is one of the most powerful tools for growth. When a man embraces failure as a learning experience, he gains the wisdom to do better next time. The first step is to stop running from mistakes and start looking at them as opportunities for self-reflection. Ask yourself, what did I learn from this? How can I do things differently next time? And by acknowledging your mistakes and adjusting your approach, you can make smarter choices and improve every aspect of your life. A big part of learning from mistakes is being open to feedback. Whether it comes from others or from self-reflection, feedback helps you see your blind spots and areas for improvement. Don't take criticism personally. View it as a tool for growth. Those who are open to feedback are constantly evolving, adapting, and getting closer to their goals. By accepting your failures, reflecting on them, and using them as opportunities to grow, you can break free from the cycle of repetition and begin building the life you truly want. Learning from your mistakes not only makes you smarter, but also more resilient and adaptable in the face of future challenges. In the end, the refusal to learn from mistakes keeps a man from reaching his full potential. Embrace failure as part of the journey, reflect on it, and let it guide you towards smarter decisions and a better future. Part 5. Living in Denial. The fifth sign of a stupid man is living in denial. Denial is a powerful yet insidious behavior. It's when someone refuses to acknowledge reality, choosing instead to live in a self-created bubble where the truth is distorted or ignored. A man who lives in denial refuses to face the problems in his life, whether personal, professional, or emotional. This constant avoidance of reality prevents growth, damages relationships, and keeps him stuck in a cycle of misery. Why is living in denial so harmful? Denial doesn't just keep someone from seeing the truth, it actively sabotages their potential. The truth, no matter how uncomfortable or difficult, is always the key to solving problems and overcoming obstacles. When a man lives in denial, he is essentially saying, "I'm not ready to deal with this, so I'll pretend it doesn't exist." This creates a barrier between him and the life he could be living, one full of opportunities, success, and fulfillment. Signs that someone is living in denial include ignoring major issues, avoiding difficult conversations, pretending everything is fine when it's clearly not, and failing to take responsibility for their actions. For example, if a man is facing financial problems but refuses to acknowledge the gravity of the situation, he will continue making poor decisions until it's too late. Similarly, if a man is in a toxic relationship but refuses to see how it's affecting him, he is denying the reality of the situation and staying trapped in a harmful cycle. The impact of living in denial is devastating. It delays progress and growth, leaving someone stuck in a place where they can't move forward. It also creates emotional and psychological stress as the person becomes increasingly disconnected from the reality of their circumstances. Denial also negatively affects relationships. If a man refuses to face the truth about his behavior, the issues in his relationships will only continue to worsen. Relationships need honesty, communication, and the willingness to face uncomfortable truths in order to thrive. Denial shuts down those opportunities for growth and healing. So, how can a man break free from denial? The first step is recognizing it. Be honest with yourself. Look at your life objectively and ask, am I avoiding the truth? What am I refusing to face? Denial thrives in avoidance, so facing the truth head-on is essential for breaking its grip. This might involve difficult conversations, facing uncomfortable emotions, or making hard decisions, but it's the only way to free yourself from the cycle of denial and step into a life of clarity and purpose. Living in denial doesn't have to be permanent. It can be overcome with self-awareness and the courage to confront the truth. By accepting reality, no matter how difficult, you can make better decisions, improve your relationships, and ultimately become a better, more successful person. Denial may offer temporary comfort, but it prevents the growth and progress that can lead to lasting happiness and fulfillment. Part 6. Lack of ambition or drive. The sixth sign of a stupid man is a lack of ambition or drive. Ambition is the fuel that drives us to achieve our goals, push through challenges, and reach our highest potential. It's the inner fire that propels us forward when the road gets tough and when others give up. A man without ambition lacks this internal drive, settling for mediocrity instead of striving for greatness. This lack of ambition is a clear sign of someone who isn't fully engaged in life, and it's a major barrier to success and fulfillment. Why is a lack of ambition such a damaging trait? Because it's the absence of purpose. When a man has no ambition, he has no direction. He drifts through life without clear goals, without a sense of meaning, and without the desire to achieve anything substantial. Ambition is what gets us out of bed in the morning with a sense of purpose. It's what drives us to work hard, learn new things, and make progress towards something greater. Without ambition, life becomes dull, stagnant, and devoid of passion. Signs of a lack of ambition include settling for less than you deserve, procrastination, lack of goal setting, and no sense of long-term direction. For example, a man who consistently puts off important tasks, never sets any meaningful goals, and doesn't make an effort to improve his situation is not living with ambition. Similarly, someone who is content with mediocrity and doesn't seek personal growth or achievement is operating without drive. The impact of lacking ambition is profound. It keeps a man from realizing his potential, leads to a life of unfulfilled promises, and results in missed opportunities. This lack of drive is not just harmful to the individual, it affects everyone around them. If a man has no ambition to improve his career, his financial situation, or his health, it creates a sense of stagnation. Relationships also suffer when one partner is not motivated to grow or work toward shared goals. The result is frustration, resentment, and a lack of fulfillment for both parties. So how can a man cultivate ambition and drive? The first step is to define what success looks like to him. What are his passions, his goals, his desires? What does he want to achieve in life? Ambition doesn't have to mean climbing the corporate ladder or making millions. It can be about finding purpose in any area of life. Whether it's mastering a skill, improving relationships, or building a fulfilling career, ambition starts with a clear vision and a commitment to take action. Once you've defined your goals, take consistent steps toward achieving them. Ambition isn't about overnight success. It's about putting in the hard work day after day. It's about pushing through challenges, staying focused, and never settling for less than what you know you're capable of achieving. Surround yourself with people who inspire and challenge you. Find mentors and role models who have accomplished what you want to achieve and learn from them. Ambition is also about resilience. The road to success is rarely smooth, and setbacks are inevitable. A man with ambition doesn't give up when things get tough. Instead, he uses adversity as fuel to keep going. By developing a strong sense of purpose, setting clear goals, and working relentlessly toward them, you can reignite your ambition and create a life of achievement and fulfillment. Part 7. Ignoring the importance of relationships. The seventh and final sign of a stupid man is ignoring the importance of relationships. Now, some men may believe that success, wealth, or status are the most important things to achieve in life, but let's be honest, relationships are the foundation of a fulfilled, happy life. Whether it's family, friends, or romantic partners, the quality of the relationships we cultivate has a profound impact on our mental health, happiness, and overall well-being. A man who dismisses or neglects the value of relationships is missing one of life's greatest gifts. Why is neglecting relationships so harmful? Because at the end of the day, no amount of money, career success, or material possessions can replace the love and support of meaningful relationships. Humans are social beings, and the connections we make with others provide us with a sense of purpose, emotional support, and a deeper understanding of ourselves. When a man ignores the value of relationships, he isolates himself from the very source of emotional nourishment that allows him to thrive. Signs of ignoring relationships include prioritizing work or personal goals over family and friends, neglecting to show appreciation or care for loved ones, and being emotionally unavailable to others. For example, a man who is constantly putting his career above spending time with his spouse or children is sacrificing the emotional connections that matter most. Or a man who consistently avoids or neglects friendships because he is too focused on himself is setting himself up for loneliness and disconnection. The impact of neglecting relationships is immediate and long-term. In the short term, it creates feelings of isolation, loneliness, and emotional emptiness. In the long term, it can lead to broken marriages, estranged friendships, and missed opportunities for personal growth. Relationships are built on trust, respect, and mutual care. Without nurturing these bonds, a man is not only setting himself up for emotional turmoil, but he's also closing himself off from some of life's most profound joys. So, how can a man begin to value and prioritize relationships? The first step is to recognize that success and happiness are not just about individual achievements, but about the people you have by your side. If you've been neglecting the important people in your life, take a step back and reflect on how you can show them more care, appreciation, and love. Relationships require time and effort. They are not automatic. They must be actively nurtured and maintained. To strengthen relationships, practice empathy and emotional availability. Listen to others, communicate openly, and show up for the people who matter most. Relationships thrive on mutual respect and care. Don't take them for granted and don't assume that they will always be there without effort on your part. Quality relationships require intention and dedication, but the reward is a life filled with love, support, and fulfillment. True success in life is measured not by how much money you make or how many accolades you receive, but by the depth of the relationships you cultivate. By prioritizing these connections, you open yourself up to a wealth of love, joy, and fulfillment that no material possession can provide. Investing in relationships is one of the smartest things you can do for your personal growth, emotional well-being, and overall happiness. Conclusion: breaking free from foolishness and embracing growth. In conclusion, the 7 signs of a stupid man are not meant to criticize or condemn, but to offer a wake-up call. We all have the capacity to fall into these patterns: lacking accountability, being stubborn, reacting emotionally, refusing to learn, living in denial, lacking ambition, and neglecting relationships. But the key to overcoming these signs is awareness. Once we recognize these behaviors within ourselves, we can take action to change them and unlock our true potential. The truth is, nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes, and we all have areas where we fall short. But the difference between those who succeed and those who stagnate is the willingness to grow. A man who acknowledges his shortcomings, embraces change, and makes a conscious effort to improve is a man who will continue to move forward in life, no matter the obstacles. So ask yourself, are you holding on to any of these signs in your own life? Are there areas where you've been stuck, ignoring growth and making the same mistakes? This is your opportunity to change. The first step toward becoming a better, wiser, more successful person is acknowledging where you've been wrong and then taking consistent, purposeful action to correct it. The journey to self-improvement is not easy, but it is rewarding. It requires courage, self-discipline, and the willingness to face uncomfortable truths. It's about embracing accountability, learning from mistakes, managing your emotions, staying adaptable, and investing in the relationships that matter most. By doing these things, you'll not only become a better man, but a wiser, more fulfilled, and more successful one. Let this be your reminder that the only real failure in life is staying the same. So break free from foolishness, make better decisions, and create a life that's filled with purpose, love, and lasting success. You are capable of so much more, and the time to start is now.